Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, The Mestizo Perspective. This is the French Olmec. Today we have a very important theme. I have a few videos at the beginning so you can have an idea of what the theme is going to be about. Also, do not forget to press the like and follow button or anything similar to that if you want to see more content like this. And with that, well, let's just dive in.
We will not stand by while others try to diminish our great nation. We are strong, we are resilient, and we will win.
Well, let us begin with understanding that the USA, United States of America, is an addict's paradise where dopamine is the common drug of use, is the common denominator for every drug user you can think of. The United States has easy access to chemicals, food, addictive activities, all of which are designed to provide high levels of dopamine in exchange for short bursts of activities or consumption. These are those with high payoff for small effort. But before we go any further, let's understand that humans were built to do hard labor for minimal payoff. That's what our body was built for. We were built to hunt for hours in order to get a little food that would last us for a little while. We're also made to toil the fields from sunup to sundown just to feed ourselves and our people. That was the original design. We in time learned, including learned technology, which, by the way, always turns out, this technology, that it benefits a few that have more exchange currency, which is often historically arrived at by cheating the harder workers that are less knowledgeable from the fruits of their labor. Now, we will have another video that will deal with how capitalists have never worked for their currency, not truly. Now that I have taken a turn to the billionaire class, let's understand the billionaire class and Trump right now, he has joined them very avidly, have capitalized on this era of addictive behavior brought on by a consumption society which is anything but Christian. And I say that because they always thought they were a Christian society. But for those who claim to reject others because they themselves believe themselves to be so Christian, no, you are not. And we will deal with this in another video of who is truly a Christian in another video. But now let's get down to business. Let's look at some of the videos of what it takes to be an addict. Now, an addict will rather face self-destructive behavior than face the addiction it has. Now, the addictive behavior produces enough dopamine to take away the feeling of victimhood and shame that is usually at the root of the problem. Yet, this addiction never actually fixes the actual problem that makes you feel victimized. And we can dive deep into that situation in another video. Right now, we're trying to focus on what it is to be an addict and why is it that we in the United States are addicts. Now, what captures a significant amount of addicts is a common denominator of victimhood, as I have said. You think someone has done you wrong and you need to be compensated. Your addictive self-destructive behavior is masked by blaming your situation on others and expecting one particular person, thing, habit, or chemical to be your savior. That's victimhood. Blaming your behavior on others is victimhood. I don't have a job. I can't pay the rent. I can't buy a car. I can't buy a house. I don't feel safe. Everything. I am too angry. You know, the typical, and this one is really horrible. It's like, you make me hit you. Oh my God, really? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, all of these things, you can either blame on someone or take responsibility by yourself. Blaming the economy on immigrants, that's victimhood. There is no way that 10 million people are going to affect the economy of 360 million people. Immigrants are the least powerful people in the United States. Blaming the moral state of our country on LGBTQIA, that's victimhood. The moral state of our country is not because of the gays or the lesbians. No, the moral state of our country is because of the billionaires who don't give a hoot about our children in schools to regulate guns. That is a lack of morality and care for the same children they claim to care so much about. Okay? Blaming the moral state of our country on abortions, that's victimhood. You know why? Because you're not looking at the powerful men who are continuously assaulting intimately the women who then, instead of having to carry an assault for 18 years, they say, no, I don't want it. Oh, no, it's their fault. That's victimhood. Blaming your inability to find a good paying job because someone else in the world is doing something to me. That's victimhood. A victim mentality is a habitual, self-defeating mindset where individuals feel powerless, and blame others for their problems and constantly seek validation. Oh yes, because we're all Christians, right? That's the false validation. No, it's because you don't know what you're doing. You didn't care to study enough. Your politicians are screwing you over. But no, we have to blame it on the immigrants. Really? See what I'm saying? This is victimhood. Now, why do you seek validation? Because belonging to a group gives you that warm and fuzzy feeling that you're probably not wrong. I mean, if the majority of the people around me are Christian, Christianity must be right. You know, I lived many years being the one that stands outside when we had problems in school. And I'm talking problems that the teacher would say, hey, you guys got to solve this problem. And for some reason or other, I always came up with a different answer than most of the guys. And they were like, no, how could you be right? We all got the same answer. And when the teacher would come around and show us what the answer was, guess who was the right one? It was me. Now, I was lucky because I was taught math and English before I started school by my parents, maids, etc. A lot of people helped me. I'm not a self-made man like that. But I understand what it is like to stand alone. You have to be able to validate what you have in the face of, hey, the whole classroom got a different answer. Well, I'm sorry if the whole classroom is wrong. But I understand that it feels really nice when everybody's with you. But that doesn't mean that you're right. But it does give you a warm and fuzzy feeling, thus creating that same addictive behavior where as long as you're with the group, you feel safe. But that doesn't mean that you're right. You see? Now, being alone feels terrifying because you're alone and you can't handle against everybody else. But guess what? At the end, you actually are stronger. Now, most people feel weak. They feel they can't stand alone against a group. It takes training. If you can't stand alone against a group, or because, hey, this popular person said that this is the answer, and you yourself have not sat down and said, hey, you know what? 3 times 3 is 9, plus 6 is 15. And if everybody else says that it's 16 or 14, they're wrong. And if you don't have the courage, if you see the answer and you don't have the courage to say, no, I did my math. See, this is important. I did my math, and the answer is different. I don't care what Lewis says, but it's different. And unless you come and you prove to me that I'm wrong, then I'm going to stand by my answer because I believe in myself. If you can't do that, you're an addict to the group or to the person who leads the group. Now, how can you get rid of victimhood? Overcoming victimhood requires developing self-agency, taking responsibility, understanding that, yeah, you can stand alone. And yeah, sometimes you might be wrong, but that's okay because it was your work, it was your understanding. It wasn't like, oh, well, it's because Jenny said, it's because Carlos said. No, this is because you said, because you have value, because you did your work, not because you heard what the news were saying, not because you believed what the politician was saying, not because you believe what the boss says. I mean, after all, why would the boss steer me wrong? No, have you done your freaking homework? That's where your dignity and your self-agency comes from. Now, this is where the macho man mentality fails. This Alex Jones and all of these people who are so macho, they have no forgiveness for self. It takes away your macho mentality, it takes away your right to feel weak and be okay with it. Say, hey, you know what? I would rather be the head of a mouse than the tail of a lion. Because I will not drag myself by the floor just so that people can see that I'm part of a powerful enterprise. No, because I am worth it. If you're not worth it, you're an addict. Now, what is your addiction? That's the problem. See, the tribe, the group, the society, the things that make you feel good just because you're there with them, they help you mask all your shortcomings, all your ability to think, to understand, to give dignity and value to yourself and to your results. Now, all these feelings that come from the dopamine that gets released when you're in that particular behavior with those particular people or consuming that substance, which more often than not, when analyzed rationally and logically, are self-destructive. Now, let's understand. The key elements of the lack of dopamine. You appreciate someone else doing something for you. Retribution. I am your retribution. Why do you need to be my retribution? Can I not stand by myself as a man? Can I not stand for myself and what I believe? That's lack of dopamine. I cannot give myself the self-worth to stand for myself because I feel powerless. Your ability to produce dopamine has been depleted through continuous addictions, behaviors, associations, and chemicals that produce a quick and exaggerated raise in dopamine. Now, this in itself might not be such a big problem, except for the fact that the billionaire class has found a use case for addiction. Addiction, is on a spectrum. As long as you are a functional addict, okay, your behavior and attitude is useful in order to maintain the status quo for the billionaire class to exploit. Why? Because the behaviors of an addict are predictive. You can have an addict in many different situations and you can predict what the hell he's going to do. Why? Because his addiction is his main interest. Now, at the end, as I said, whatever is your drug of choice, what you get at the end is a high production of dopamine in your brain. That's the end. Now, the problem is people refuse to do the hard work. And this is the problem that we have in our current society. The people running our world, running our country, are people who are more interested in managing a bunch of addicts than they are in actually making the country number one. Contrary to what they say. I know. America first. Make America great. No, they're not. They're not interested in that. That's just what they sell. These are used car salesmen that are telling you the car that they got is the best car in the world and you should buy it. Only when you take it home you find out that you have a lemon. That's what the hell is going on. People, addicts in our country, just freaking refuse to do the hard work that it takes to look for and elect candidates who have a history or a higher possibility of working for the people and the sustained benefit for our country. They just refuse. This is how I know, yeah, it's a freaking addiction, because you would rather hide in the victimhood of, oh, we got lied to again. Well, you didn't do your freaking homework, because if the guy, and I'm going to quote the president that we have right now, if the guy has 14 bankruptcies in his history, how can he claim, and he was given a lot of money, how can he claim that he can run a business? But yet, there is a significant amount of people in the United States who still think he's the man for the job. You know, if I went to ask in a company, any company, a financial company, and I said that I had 14 bankruptcies in my life, and I was looking for a job that had anything to do with money, even as a cashier, they would not hire me. But yet we have millions of people who think, yeah, Trump would definitely be able to manage our country's money after 14 bankruptcies. This is the behavior of addicts. An addict will vote for those whose names marketing makes available and attractive to them. Instead of having a thinking, voting population, we get a bunch of truly ignorant people who rather vote for quick memes and quick sayings that they sound really smart. But have you seen this guy's history? Now, these sayings that they like, they fit their broken understanding of our country. In other words, they don't seem to even understand where our country comes from or what it's supposed to do. This is a problem of addiction. Addiction does not understand what the real situation is. They just understand that they want their fix. Now, this behavior doesn't just begin from the morning to the night. Where does it begin? Well, this seems to begin in what we call cultural grooming. This refers to the ritual practices and beauty standards shaped by cultural identity, reflecting heritage, social status, and personal expression. These practices range from daily hygiene to specific hair, beard, and skincare routines that reinforce community bonds and individual self-care routines. This is all started since childhood. Now, in the United States, cultural grooming creates a complex problem due to a collision between diverse traditional practices and dominant Western societal norms, often leading to discrimination, legal battles, and social tensions. Now, these cultural differences can be overcome quickly. Well, not quickly. This is the problem. Cultural differences can be overcome by education, integration, and rules to equalize the playing field. It does bring a dopamine reward when you reach the objective, but only after the hard work of educating oneself in other people's culture to understand and welcome other people's beliefs and ways to associate. However, in a country where the quick reward is part of the addictive behavior, it makes it harder to unify different cultures. Now, when people cannot find a way to unify the country, the only ones that win are the billionaires, who do not have enough opposition to counter their minority interests. Now, what are the minority interests? For there to be more sales of guns. There's factories of guns up the bazooka in the United States. Now, where are they selling? They can't sell them in Vietnam anymore. So where are they going to sell them? They're going to sell them to us, to our children, to our young ones, so they can create an environment like a war environment. Great, yes, we all walk around with a gun because when the government tries to take over, no, it's already taking over and nobody has drawn a single bullet. I hope they don't, but that's not where the country is lost. The sales of gun, the purpose of the sales of gun is to enrich the billionaires who are owners of these manufacturing and sales stores. Minimizing the safety of regulations, that's another thing. Why would a worker want safety? Let's get rid of it. That's what the billionaires want. That's not what is good for the worker that wants to work for many years to sustain his family. Gutting educational budgets. Why would your son want to become a lawyer or an engineer? Nah, let's dumb him down so he keeps working for the billionaires. Do you get this? Gutting healthcare. Well, if you get sick, you can't pay the bills, well, you go away, we'll get another one. Increasing gas prices. Who benefits from that? The owners of the oil wells. Increasing sales prices in any store. Who benefits from that? Increasing household prices. Do you benefit from that? No, you don't. Now, let me ask you, when have you seen an addict work towards getting any of these long-term objectives resolved? Never, because an addict does not have time to plan, study, or understand the strategy of those that want to enrich themselves of his or her labor. An addict has no time to think. This always favored those who write the laws to benefit the billionaires, in the absence of true voter participation. But it does encourage the victimhood behavior that result from the continuous, they lied to us, they got away with it again, etc. Why? Because people are addicted. They don't have time to think. They don't have time to rationalize. They just have time to listen to their body, to listen to the Fox News, to listen to this other news, whatever. They don't have time to think, analyze, and rationalize. And as long as we keep on that same pattern, our country is going to continue going down and down the drain, while the billionaire class keeps on yelling, America first, make America great, and we're going to continue going downhill. As a final, there was a joke that I was told a long time ago. Everybody says, how are you doing? Everybody says, so far so good. But then again, that's also what a man says while he's falling down a sufficiently tall building. So far so good, so far so good. That is what's happening to our country right now. And unless we start using our power, we're going to hit the floor. I'll see you on the next one. I have a couple of videos to make that I promised. And don't forget to press the like, and don't forget about us. This has been Mestizo Perspective, your host, the French Olmec. I hope you enjoyed this.